Want to talk to you today about a book I read that's super badass. It's called Harnessing the Power of the One Thing by Gary Keller, Keller, for a focused and fulfilling life. So what is this one thing? And how do I get power off of this one thing? Well, it's really cool. And to me, when I read the book, it was like bringing tons of clarity. And what it is it wants you to identify, and I'm going to talk about how to identify, and focus, and I'm going to talk about how to focus. So the book wants you to identify and focus on the single most important task or goal in your life. And you hone in, like you zero in, like you would like a missile trying to hit the enemy truck, and you're up in the air, and you've got to get that missile lock right on that one truck. You hone in on the one thing that can achieve extraordinary results. So let's get into this key concept. And there's a lot of actionable steps, and I love books that have actionable steps. How do I apply this to my everyday life? Some books are good. I like macro. I like theory. I like the psychology of it, and then it kind of leads you. But this is really practical book, and this is just basic self-awareness. And as a leader, this is going to help you, and I want you to try this. You have to try this for 30 days straight. 30 days. They say develops to have it in 20 days or 15 days or 21 days. They have all these different things. I like to pick, I'm going to do this for 30 days. I'm going to put an alarm on my phone to remind me at a certain time, and that alarm is going to go off every day for 30 days. And on the alarm, the title of the alarm, like this, I would put the one thing. And then that would remind me, and I would stop, take 5-10 minutes, and then do these actions. I'm going to talk about them. First, he talks about the domino effect. And if you think about dominoes, and I've watched those on YouTube, they're so cool, especially like kids and stuff like that, or teenagers, they will get these amazing, amazing domino effects where you hit one domino and then it's going through a building and then another building, and then it knocks over this thing, and then this machine moves and hits this other domino. I want you to think about the power of that effect, the domino effect. That when you begin to focus on one domino or one task, then it becomes this, I knock down the first task, I knock down the first goal, and I set off a chain reaction that leads to the achievement of the larger goals. See, look at this. Isn't this so cool? So you have this impossible project, task, goal, whatever it may be. Okay, I'm going to break it down, and I'm going to focus on the one thing. And this takes some thinking. Your brain's going to be like, holy shit, I haven't thought like this in a long time. What's the thing that can set off the chain reaction on this? What's the thing that can lead to the achievement of this getting done? And he talks about in the book, the focusing question. So how do you identify the one thing? You got to ask yourself this. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Let me give you an example. So you have a huge project that you need to get done. Let's say it's year end. Let's use something pretty simple. So it's a year end PowerPoint and report that you have to give to the C-suite. So the CEO, the CFO, the CMO, the CTO, the CEO, all of them are going to be there. What's the one thing that you can do that'll make everything else easier or unnecessary? So I'm going to think about this. What's the one thing? Well, the one thing I can do is delegate it. Ugh, it's a report. It's the thing I have to present. I need to do it all. How many of you have wasted hours upon hours to get a PowerPoint that's right when you could have gone on Fiverr or hired somebody for $10 an hour that is a graphic designer that specializes in Google PowerPoint or Google Present or whatever it is, Google Sheets, whatever they all are. They could have gone in there, made this look badass, and you would have been done with this. You're like, well, yeah, that's cool, Jason. I like that hack. I can sit there and, I could delegate that away, and that sounds good. It'd be way better than what I'm making, and it would look super professional. I like that idea. Okay. Well, delegate. So I'm going to delegate. That's the one thing I can do that'll make everything else easier and necessary. So what else do I need to delegate? So I'm going to delegate the wording. No, Jason. I personally need to come up with the wording. I can't delegate the wording of the PowerPoint. Yes, you can. So you're going to take your best person that's good with wording and good with reports, and you're going to task them with this project. Well, they've got so much other stuff. No. They don't have so much other stuff. They can help you with this. You're going to put them in the office and say, you know what, Teresa? You've been badass with reports, and I've got this really big report that's coming up that's going to affect our whole department. And the things that you come up with and the creativity in this, I want us together, if you don't mind, to work on this. So I have some ideas and stuff I'd like to run by you, but then if you don't mind, I have a graphic designer that's going to design the PowerPoint. I just want the wording to be really effective and creative like you do. Do you mind helping me with this? She's going to say, of course not. I would love to. And it's like, if there's any other work that we can dish off to somebody else so that you can kind of make this a priority, I would love to be able to help alleviate that. Okay, now I've delegated that. What's the one, here's the focusing question. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? So now it makes it easier and unnecessary for me to come up with the wording. Now it makes it easier and unnecessary for me to come up with the graphic designer. So now I'm not spending hours and hours and hours going over slide 1, slide 2. How does it transition from 1 to 2? Now I'm going to have somebody that I can have a meeting with, record the meeting. Teresa's going to come in the meeting. You guys are going to record it so she can go back and listen to it. Or she can take the recording that you recorded off of your phone in your guys' meeting, and she can transcribe it for like $10 online. And then from there, guess what? Or like on Google Meet, they have the transcription thing in there. So cheap to do that. And then she has the transcription, and now she can go through with the things that you said. Another way, if you've got multiple things in this one PowerPoint, you've got multiple departments, then you're going to get each person to be in charge of 3 slides or 2 slides or 1 slide, whatever it may be. And you're going to find somebody out of that department that's going to be in charge of that slide. And you're going to have the same conversation. I have Teresa kind of working on this overall. She's going to be getting with you. You have slides 1 through 3 that I want you 2 to work on together. Okay, am I doing the slides? Why do leaders think that they have to do everything? I still haven't figured that out. You know why? Because we don't trust our people. But guess what? You're coaching. You're busy coaching. You're busy leading. You don't have time to worry about PowerPoint slides. What you're going to take your time to, once you've got the PowerPoint slide, Teresa presents it to you, you look at it, you're like, let's tweak this, this looks pretty good, I really like this, done an amazing job, Teresa. She's going to tweak them, come back to you, you're going to be like, this is awesome, I love it, we got 2 more changes, and then we're done. Now it's your responsibility. The one thing you are going to work on is presenting this. So you're going to go over this thing at least 20 to 50 times. Whether you're doing it in your office with your door closed, whether you're doing it at home, you're going to go over this over and over and over again. Then you're going to record yourself going over it. After you've gone over it like 15, 20 times, you're going to record yourself, and then you're going to listen to yourself go over it. This is how comedians work on their bits. This is how speech people work on. And then you're going to listen to yourself, and you're going to be like, you're going to take notes. I didn't like this part. I did like this part. And you can have your phone, put your headset on so you're not distracted, take a notepad, and go over some of the things that you don't like what you said. Then you're going to correct those, and your brain's going to catch on. And then you're going to turn around, and guess what you're going to do? You're going to do it again and record yourself again. And listen, you need to do this at least 3 to 5 times, just recording and listening and honing it in. Then what you're going to do is you're going to present it to your team leaders or to your team, but you're going to present it to people before you go to the C-suite. You're going to have this thing nailed down. What I would do is try to manufacture ways that you could present this to maybe 3 or 4 different times to 3 or 4 different groups, different teams. And you'd be like, hey, this was in your presentation. This is what I'm presenting to the C-suite. I'd like to be able to present it to you guys. And then they're gonna feel transparent because you're showing them what you're talking about them and their team. So let's say you have 3 team leaders in there, or 5 team leaders, or 7 or 10 or whatever. You're like, hey guys, I'm gonna present this to you. We're all sitting here. I want some help, some critique. If there's anything that and you're gonna present it. Now, if you've done your homework and you've done it right and you're presenting it very well, they're gonna have very few critiques on it. They're gonna think you did badass, and then they're gonna see you like, oh wow, you know what? I'm going to use myself. Jason knows how to talk to the C-suite. He's prepared. He's on it. You see, you didn't, the time that you took to prepare it, and it would look shitty if you did it anyways because you're not a graphic designer. And you're not really good at wording. Maybe, but somebody else can do a better job. Instead of working and spending all your time on the presentation, because it's not the presentation that matters. What matters is you standing up there confidently and being able to speak to it. And then you're gonna craft some questions afterwards that the C-suite can answer for you, because you're gonna coach the C-suite. You coach up and you coach down. It's that simple, guys. So that's one way that you can use this focus question. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier and necessary? I want to talk about the 80-20 principle. This is a Pareto principle. This concept suggests, and this is in the book, that 80% of our results come from 20% of our efforts. By focusing on the most impactful task, that top 20, we're going to achieve more significant results with less effort. Isn't that cool, guys? You need to study the Pareto principle out. There's some really good books on it. I encourage you to look. You can just type in Pareto principle, the 80-20. There's a book called the 80-20 rule that's really good you should get. And you'll be able to understand this, where you're wasting 80% of your time. Next is time blocking. So 80-20 rule, next is time blocking. To ensure progress towards the one thing, Keller, the author, recommends time blocking, which involves setting aside dedicated, uninterrupted time to focus solely on your most important tasks. This is what I'm saying. You put headphones on. Maybe you stay 30 minutes later or come in 30 minutes early when no one's there, no one can interrupt you. Maybe lock your office door and you work on the presentation with headphones. You listen to yourself presenting it multiple times. If you're confident in presenting it and you know you can present with your eyes closed and you've presented to other people already, how confident are you? How nervous are you going to be when you come to the C-suite? Most people are nervous when they're presenting something because they didn't focus on the presentation part of it. They just prepared. And I've done some podcasts on this too. So time blocking, really cool. Applying the one thing in your life. So the author talks about how to identify your one thing. Reflect on your personal and professional life to determine your most important goal or task. What is it? I need to get in shape. More than anything, at the end of the year, if I was in shape, I would feel at a 10 in my best. That's my most important. That's my one thing. I'm going to get in shape this year. Okay. What are you going to do? How are you going to accomplish this? Well, you're going to ask yourself, you're coaching yourself. Self-awareness here. This book is about self-awareness. You're going to ask the focusing question, this. And you're going to use this focusing question to guide your daily actions and decision-making. So you're going to continually ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do today that will make everything else easier or unnecessary? Put this in your alarm. So you're going to have an alarm that gets you to the office. Right when you get to the office, maybe you get at 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever time you get. It's going to ding right at that time, and it's going to be, maybe set it for, you come to the office at 8, set it for 8:10 or 8:05. And it's going to remind you, and you're going to take 5 minutes and pause and reflect on this. What's the one thing I can do today that will make everything else easier or unnecessary? Maybe you write a list of everything that you need to accomplish, all the tasks that you do. I had 22 things I needed to accomplish today on a list that I wrote on my yellow legal pad. So I'm going to look at those 22 things and say, what's the one thing I can do today that will make everything else easier or unnecessary? And you're going to look at this and be like, yeah, these things need to get done. Some of them are long-term projects. I've been writing the same 11 ones down over and over again. So I need to gain clarity. What do I need to do? Okay, I need to gain clarity on this project. This project's really bugging me, and this will make everything easier and unnecessary. And then you're going to take that list and you're going to prioritize the 20%. Analyze your daily tasks and responsibilities to identify the top 20% that will yield the most significant results. So this is what I do. I check those, or I highlight those, or whatever you want to do. Underline them, whatever. So the top 20%. So I look at these 22 things and say, which one will yield the most significant results today? Okay. Out of 20%. So I have 22 of them. So 4 or 5 of them today, I need to really focus on. And then I'm going to put my time and energy and my focus on these high impact tasks. And I'm going to eliminate them or delegate them when possible. And what you're going to find when you get really good at coaching and delegating, you're going to find that those top 5, probably 3, 4 of them, you could really delegate instead of you doing. So what does consistency look like? I believe, and the author talks about this, cultivating habits and discipline. And consistent to me is focusing on the one thing. Because that's going to give you discipline. And it's going to give your mind clarity. And it's going to be able to help you to be able to form disciplined habits. This is going to develop a daily routine for you. This is going to, over time, you're going to get, as a snowball, you're going to get these wins. You're going to see yourself being more practical. So you're going to be able to easily commit to the one thing. And then you're practicing self-discipline automatically. And that's going to help you stay on track. So I encourage you, get the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller. You're going to be shocked at how you can eliminate 80% of the bullshit that you're doing. And you'll be able to block the time, cultivate habits and discipline, unlock your full potential. You're going to be able to lead a more focused and fulfilling life just by embracing these principles of the one thing.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share. And go to abqpodcast.com. Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.